Hey, welcome back to the channel. I am really glad you're here, and welcome to live stream number 182. It's November 11th, 2024, and of course, it's Veterans Day. How cool is it that live stream night fell exactly on Veterans Day? We've talked about it in past years, and it's usually the next day or somewhere in the area, but here we are, November 11th, on this very evening. So thank you for being here. I do appreciate seeing you. If it is your first time here, please say hi in the live chat so that we can welcome you most appropriately and let us know how you found the channel. Was it YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, or TikTok? That's always fun to know. And we do this every Monday night, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time, just an hour. And it's practically every Monday. You know, we missed a couple when I went to Kentucky, and I don't think I'm going to be here next week. I'm going to give you fair warning because I don't know that I'll be back in time to go live next Monday night. So keep in mind that you may see a blank screen next Monday night. Well, we could talk about that some. Now, about tonight's show. Now, last week we had Lee Cloncher here. What a great interview that was. Talking about Lee's new book, Snoopy and the Spy. I actually ordered mine after our conversation. So I'm looking forward to receiving that. But what a fun guy to talk to. So talented, and I really enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Tonight we're just kind of free roll. I thought since it's Veterans Day, I want to engage in the live chat. Find out who's a veteran. Thank you for being a veteran. Maybe you have friends or family who's serving currently, and we want to honor you this evening. So that's what we're going to do. That's what we're going to talk about. I'm going to look at the live chat so we can get started here. And of course, we'll talk about happenings around the property and what's going on here as well. You know, projects coming up and things we're doing. And, we do, again, if you're here for the first time, this channel is about the rural lifestyle and a lot of compact tractor content, attachments, work around the property, firewood, those kind of things. That's what we talk about here. So the live chat's kind of an extension of that, or the live stream is kind of an extension of that. But we also just kind of chat about different things. So, but if you do like things like outdoor content, tractors, firewood, DIY projects, life in the country, that's what this channel is about, and that's what we're talking about. So, uh, getting started, I see Manisto Key. Mark is here for looks like first one here, and Bob Pers and Chris from the Watershed Overlook. Look at this. Look at this guy. What's up with this guy? Ross on the land. Finally have an evening. Ross has been out of service on Monday evenings because he apparently has something better to do. Can you believe that? Boo, Ross. No, we love you, Ross. Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. I get that others have commitments on Mondays and you can't always be here, but it's good to see you. Chevhead Ed, happy Veterans Day to you, to all. And Seacliff Steve, I'm sorry, I don't know about this, and I'm from New Jersey. Steve is saying, sorry for the loss of the young firefighter that lost his life fighting the wildland fire in New Jersey yesterday. I am sorry to say I don't know about that. I'm going to look it up. Thank you for sharing that, and what a horrible thing. We've been having lots of wildfires in the state. We did get rain yesterday for the first time, just as they promised. It was like a half inch of rain. So it just feels better today. Everything feels a little softer. And we went down by the creek, and it was actually muddy down there today. So when we do get real rains, it's going to be a mess. But anyway, thank you for that. And Mark, Remembrance Day up there in Canada too. Yes. Well, we're not just honoring U.S. veterans, we're honoring veterans and allies around the world. So happy Veterans Day and Remembrance Day up there too. Who's your helper? I mean, who's your handyman? Good to see you. Big thank you to all the vets. Currently in the dark slide with 55 degrees. Yeah, it's It's pretty dark out. Here we are, 7 o'clock. It was getting dark now, 5:30 or so. That's how it goes. Brutal Bob, good to see you. And let me just say that I myself am not a veteran. So sometimes I feel like I'm not really qualified to speak on this. Um, but I married a veteran and was in the Air Force. Of course, our friends Margaret and John, neighbors, they were in the Air Force. My father was in the Army, or no, he was in the Air Force. Sorry for that. Uh, and my uncle, my great uncle, was in World War One. I think he was Army as well. So Uncle Paul was in World War One. Dad was in World War Two, the Korean conflict, um, and so we we're all touched by military service. I feel like it's I don't know. It feels like maybe it's less than it used to be, but we all have people in our families who have served or are currently serving, and I think that is amazing. Um, I'll tell you the truth. Now, I'm kind of a slow learner, and sometimes I joke about the fact that I kind of wish that reincarnation is a real thing because I'd like to come back for a 2.0 and try it again sometimes. No regrets, but I just think, gosh, as I grow, I get more mature. And now that I'm 56 years old, now I think, you know what? I probably would have done pretty well in the military. Like I was so against it when I was 18, thinking I'm not going to do that. I don't want somebody telling me what to do. I don't want, but then as time goes on, and my perception of the military was really just what I saw in the movies and TV because I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any mentors at that time who actually were serving. My father had passed away. Uncle Paul was died when I was 10, 11 years old. Um, or was it 9 years old? No, I was 11 years old. So anyway, in those teen years when you would think about signing up for the military, I had nobody in my life that I knew of. So my perspective was just TV and movies, and that I think is not accurate. So as I've gotten older, as I've matured, and I've met people, married people, married a person who was in the military, um, I've learned that it's not necessarily a bad uh, career to have. It's certainly you are sacrificing and you're putting yourself out there for whatever comes your way. So it's a risk. It's definitely a risk. And there are some who serve in terrible conditions. Some obviously who lose their lives, who get injured mentally, physically. That's horrible. And then there are some who um, serve, and I know that there's a brotherhood and a sisterhood that every job is important in the military. But some say it's not so bad. So I don't know. And again, who am I to speak to this because I really don't have any experience with it, but I am here to say thank you. I can definitely do that because I know that when I was 18, I was not cut out for it. I mean, no regrets because I would not have been good for that. And I often, I've talked about this in the past. I remember the the ad campaign in the 1980s when I was a teenager. I remember seeing the TV commercials coming on, and it was these shots of Marines and tanks and all kind of these really tough guys, and the closing line of that commercial, see if you remember this, the closing line of that commercial was like, the US Marines, we do more by 6 a.m. than most people do all day. That was not appealing to uh, the teenager that I was. That's for sure. uh, if they would have said, we sleep till 10 a.m. every day and then we have pizza for breakfast, I'd like, yeah, that sounds good. But that's always been my thought. Like, nope, not cut out for it. And I'm really happy for people who do fit into that routine and do it well because I don't. So, um, okay. So the firefighter was New York, not New Jersey. Didn't know about that. And I'm not even aware of how many fires are going on. Tragic, regardless. Um, there have been. I know there was a forest fire up in Morris County, North Jersey. There was one in South Jersey. I think they're kind of under control. And again, I'm sure that yesterday's slight rain was helpful just to dampen everything. So Anyway, uh, Tony, thanks for being here. Air Force veteran watching from Greenville, Tennessee. Well, thanks very much. Appreciate that. And thank you. Sometimes I feel like saying thank you for your service is, I don't know, for you veterans out there, is it good to say that, or does it sound kind of cliche? Like, what else can we say? Thank you for your service just sounds like, I don't know. I feel like, I guess it's the meaning is whether you intend it or not, and I do mean it when I say it, but I feel like it's the go-to saying, and I wonder sometimes, do you feel as a veteran, do you feel like that's not really sincere? I guess it depends on the person, right? Don't know. Uh, we have we had a local Veterans Day ceremony today, which we have every year, and I attend it, and it's beautiful. And of course, the whole county, different towns have services, programs. The county has a program. I'm sure in your community, you have these too. And I hope, now I know the day's over, but I do hope that you take a moment to attend one or more of these programs because they're anyone I've ever attended is very sincere, very meaningful, very touching. And if you didn't get to one this year, think about it for Memorial Day when that comes up, Veterans Day next year. Try to put it on your calendar and make an effort to attend one of these programs in your community because uh, they're really nice, and I know that the veterans that attend those appreciate seeing the support of the community. So I would encourage you to attend a ceremony. Mikey, Navy, retired. Congratulations. Thank you, Mikey0011. There are a lot of Brutal Bob, U.S. Marine Corps. There are a lot of veterans. I've met several through this YouTube community, which is interesting because a lot of the content creators that I've come across are retired military. Maybe that's because a lot of people uh, retire young from the military and they have the ability to have a second career, whatnot. So, come across a lot of people who are retired military, which is kind of neat. And I'm really like a lot of these folks were at the expo that we were hanging out with there. Uh, Probably at least half of the people in the little circle that we were hanging out with were uh, former or retired military, and it was really neat to be in their presence. There's a certain bond that I've heard about, and again, you can tell me, but in the military, that it's a place where, again, there's a brotherhood, a sisterhood that people focus on their service and their job, and kind of the the stuff of the world gets pushed aside when you talk about somebody's race or their religion or their politics. They all seem to come together. And I don't know if the military is still that way or not because we have become pretty divided in this nation. But I think this is such a great opportunity to kind of come together because I think the military is a great example of that. And I hope it's still that way uh, for people experiencing it today. But that's what I thought was so neat about Veterans Day being today, that we are a week away from, or a week past, a very tense election. And I'm not going to talk about that because I recognize that a number of people feel one way and other people feel the other way. And I think it's important for us to focus on our common interests. Um, so, and I think Veterans Day is so perfect because it is this time of we're here for the veterans, we're here for the country. Uh, you know, Patriotism is across the board. Patriotism knows no political party. It again is all based on the individual. So I think this is a neat opportunity for us to be just together, all honoring our veterans at the same time, regardless. So that's my thought on that. And again, I'm kind of free rolling, so hope I'm making since. That Brutal Bob had received a hug from an 83-year-old lady. She had tears in her eyes. That made mine leak also. I don't know if that was today or not. I'm not catching all the comments, but that was part of the message of today's Veterans Day program that we attended, was to not just thank a vet, but do more. If you can do more than that. In fact, somebody at the program today even said, go find a veteran that you know and give them a hug. Don't just say thank you. Actually spend time with them, give them a hug. So if that's what you're talking about, Bob, that's neat how that kind of ties that all together. So, all right. So we're going through comments. Let me mention, by the way, more announcements here. That first of all, you click the like button. We like to do that. I'll do that little thing there where it'll do that. Yeah. How did last time I wasn't sure about I know one of them's fireworks. I'll learn these at some point. Anyway, thumbs up. Appreciate that. I'm going to do a sticker giveaway later. I got a few of the traditional stickers here. So stick around for the sticker giveaway. I've got the channel stickers. I've got these new fun stickers that I had made. I gave a lot of these away at the expo. I had these made specifically. I designed them myself. You can see I even have the channel name at the bottom there. There it is. Use of this machinery may be addictive. Just kind of a fun little sticker. So anyway, I designed that, had these made, and gave several away at the expo. And I have more to give away. Now, I also had some more swag made for the expo that I gave away. I had some ballpoint pens printed up. So there they are as well. Now, the sticker giveaway, maybe I'll throw one of these pens in the envelope, but I don't know how it's going to make it through the mail machine, the processor. So anyway, when we do the sticker giveaway, I'll probably throw a pen in there, and well, you can let me know if you get it in pieces or not. So, by the way, I was talking about ordering the book from Lee Klonscher's website, Octane Press. I did want to mention, reminder again, that if you missed that live stream last week, go check it out. But otherwise, go to octanepress.com. Check out Lee's book, Snoopy and the Spy. It looks like a really fun book. It came out on Friday, so it's available now. And know that you can get a discount through the channel here by typing in code MCG at checkout, and you'll get a 15% discount off anything you buy at Octane Press. So code MCG at checkout, and it works because I ordered mine and I used that code to do it. So keep that in mind if you have an interest in purchasing that or any other book. And I get nothing for that. It's just I enjoy Lee. I enjoy his work, and like to see small businesses like his succeed. And of course, he appreciates us and provided this discount code. So anyway, think about that if you want to do that. But my point was, if you have a question tonight, type in the live chat, type the word question followed by your question, and I'll see if I can answer your question. But likewise, if you have comments or whatnot, we'll kind of go through that as well. I see there's a whole conversation happening here. So, all right. Yeah, Bob, going to order one after the live stream. Yeah, that's good to remember that. Code MCG. That was nice of him to set that up. Yeah, Bob, following up on that conversation, you shared this publicly, Bob, so I'm going to put it on the screen. Veterans Day is emotional for me. I have a conference call with the families of the 2 spotters I lost. This is the 46th year we have done this. Some laughs, a lot of tears. That is really touching that you stay in touch and continue that with those families. Very nice for them. We have in our community, we have a we had a POW from the Vietnam War, and he just passed away a month or two ago, like 98 years old or so. But that was a big deal to have a POW living among us for many years. And when he returned home in the 70s, The town threw a parade for him, and they continued to live in this community uh, for the rest of his life. And it was really a great loss to the community uh, to uh, to lose him. So again, veterans, Veterans Day, Memorial Day. It is such a great way, I think, to bring a community together because again, we set aside our differences and come together for a common cause, which is kind of the definition of America, right? That's what we're supposed to be doing. So we can learn a great lesson from that. So I will continue to look at comments. We'll do the sticker giveaway a little bit before we wrap up here. Um, and I will talk a little bit more about the channel. I have done several videos now, done a couple, I've done a few. I've had my share. Uh, a couple of videos with the Bombylite brush mulcher. Um, in fact, it was about 2 videos ago. Balloons, thank you. I don't know how I did that. About 2 videos ago, gotta put my hands down. That we cleared a big area down by the stream, and we were doing it before we got rain because we know that's a low area. And my gosh, it really just changed the entire perspective of the property because there were so many of these bushes growing. They might be called, I don't know, people call them brambles or something, but they're bushes with a very yellow center. When you cut the brush off, the trunk is like it's bright yellow inside. They have these red berries on them. They're pretty invasive. So I mowed down a lot of those with the brush mulcher and just did uh, a beautiful job with that. Better than I could have done with the flail mower or anything else because it's kind of a stump grinder as well as a brush mulcher. The way those blades work, it just grinds the ground all the way down. Um, So that was pretty neat. So I've enjoyed using that brush mulcher. I've got more to do. Not all of it's going to be on video, obviously, because that would just be too much video of that. But that that really is a fun piece of equipment. Some folks have commented that it is expensive, and and all that it is very expensive. So it's maybe a special audience to buy this attachment. I wish it wasn't so expensive, but I get why it is because when you see how it's built. Um, but you have to have a need for it. It's not a homeowner type, not an everyday homeowner type attachment. You know, like that, like a tiller, a mower. You can use that several times every year. Where if you have a smaller property, the brush mulcher is going to help you get your area cleared, but then you may not need it again for a while. Now, here we're going to use it for years because we've got so many areas that are overgrown, so many areas we want to clear. Want to maintain, we actually have to maintain the forest. That's part of our woodland management plan that we have through the state. Uh, we will get a visit from a state forester every 2 years. They'll do a walkthrough. They want to see that we're actively farming this forest, whether it be cutting down trees, cutting trails, taking out the invasive species, and we're really caring for this property. That's I mean, we want to do it anyway, but it's a requirement that we do maintain this property to keep our woodland management plan, our farmland assessment. You know, it's a working farm. It's not really not what you think of when you think about a farm. Usually, you think of a farm as being a cattle farm or a farm that grows produce, those kind of things. But um, large pieces of woodland is considered farmland. You know, and we do have the meadow where we bale hay, and we're actually expanding that meadow. I cleared an area of the forest the other day. I about 20 feet by, I don't know, it was about 100 feet wide, but I was able to go closer to the forest by about 20 feet because of this brush that grows out. You know, when you have a hedgerow and you have a forest and you have a pasture or a field, well, that forest kind of creeps its way out because you get little growth, and then when you're mowing, you can't get under the trees. It pushes you out. So we're trying to gain that back and reclaim that land because it's good high ground, and that's what we're working on. Um, so I am having fun with that. Again, as you've heard me say, the Kubota B2601 is indeed barely adequate for that Bombelite MP348 brush mulcher. Brush mulcher is 4 feet wide, which is the same width as the tractor. The rear wheels of the tractor are 4 feet, but uh, the the tractor is 19 horsepower at the PTO. That's what it's rated. From what I learned recently, and actually learned from Tony when we were at the expo and we were talking about the TYMs, that companies, they can't inflate what the PTO horsepower is because some countries actually measure that, and you're not allowed to go over that PTO horsepower. So they have to list, I guess, what the minimum is. Like that, mine says 19 horsepower at the PTO. Well, what that means is it better not be anything less than 19 horsepower, or you could get a fine from some of these other countries. So that's the bare minimum. There's probably a good chance it is 20 horsepower or 21 even, but it's the minimum. It's the minimum horsepower for that attachment. Same with my Woodland Mills WC68 wood chipper. Recommended PTO horsepower for that is 20 horsepower. So when I called Woodland Mills and said, look, this tractor is 19, they said, it's okay. Just don't put as big of branches through it, which makes sense because the WC68 is supposedly able to handle up to a 6-inch branch, which I don't think you'd ever get in the roller anyway. That's ginormous. Uh, so I limit it, and I really have always just chipped up things up to 3 inches, I would say. Anything more than 3 inches, you can cut up, you can burn it, whatever. But any up to 3 inches, and that's a lot for it. Like I've stalled it now a couple times, but yeah. So Kent, you have the MP 348, and yes, it is in fact a $10,000 attachment. I get that hurts. I think if they could sell it for 3,500, a lot of people would buy it, but I don't think they're marking it up that much. Again, when you see the quality of this equipment, uh, it's uh, it's heavy, it's expensive to manufacture, and it's good. It's a lot. So, all right, and then Mark's looking for an offset flail mower. My flail mower you can manually offset it. I've never done that. It came set up in the center, and again, it's a used Land Pride flail mower. But it came set up in the center. You can offset it. You have to take out some bolts and then reposition the 3-point hitch mount. Um, I haven't personally had a need for that yet, so I've left it centered. But if you're mowing like along a fence line or along the edge of a stream or a pond, I can see where that would be really helpful. I feel like my little tractor would need some counterweight on the side of that. So anyway, and I have talked about, you saw the video where Tony and I walked around the TYM T474, which he was recommending is a good size for what we're doing here on the property because it's 48 horsepower. It's like 36 at the PTO. I can't imagine having that much power. Like, that would be so awesome. So I feel like I do have to upgrade the tractor. The problem is they're expensive. Tractors are expensive. Um, and nobody's offering me a tractor yet. I would work with a company, but I'm not going to sell my soul to a tractor company now. But I am working this B2601. I realize I am pushing it to its limits, but that's where it is. So it's what I have. So you got to run it, and you just run it. You push it to its limits, but you just take it easy with it. Like that mulcher, I can mulch some pretty big stuff with it, but I've got to back into it slowly and easily, and you know, just let the tractor do what it can. So that's what I do. Anyway, I'm kind of rambling back and forth. Chris almost has a question. Oh, there it is. He reposted it. Chris, does anything new happening with Mud Mixer? Well, funny you should ask, Chris. Um, I have this Mud Mixer, and I did a project with it when I poured the pad for the compost bin. Um, the video took off for whatever reason. People continue to watch that video. I think it's because there are things in that video that make people angry, and that maybe the algorithm must see that. But anyway, it has, I don't know, what's it got, 500,000 views, I think. So, but it's performed well for Mud Mixer, and the Mud Mixer is like, for again, for whatever reason, it's like this controversial machine. It is, if you're not familiar with it, it's a cement mixer, but not traditional, where you don't you don't pour the bags of dry cement in and then add water and mix it and have it come out. No, with this, you drop the dry bag of cement concrete into the hopper, leave it dry. Do not add water. You hook a garden hose or a hose attachment to the mud mixer. It has injectors, it has like a spiral turret, um, and has a chute with a spiral in it. So it turns, and as it turns, it's injecting water into the dry cement. It's about 2 feet long. And by the time it pushes the cement out to the end of the chute, it's mixed. It's got water with it, and it just spills out the end of the chute. And it's pretty neat. You're taking steps out of the process by not having to pre-mix it. You can adjust the mix. Like, if you're mixing concrete in a concrete mixer or a wheelbarrow, you know how it's like, it's too dry, you mix it some more, add some more water. It's too dry, and then you add some more water. And it's like, oh, now it's soup. What did I do? It's all soup. There's no going back. With the mud mixer, you have a little dial, and since it's coming out consistent, not consistently. Well, it is consistently. I'm talking about the consistence coming out consistently. If it gets too wet, you dial it back, and then it comes out a little drier. So you have that control. You can stop midway. And oops, I kicked the stand. So it's a neat machine. But again, it's not a cheap machine. That's about $3,000, and for the DIYer, the home owner, that's a lot unless you're doing several projects. I get that. Um, so I don't know. People love it when they have it, but when they see it, they don't. They complain about it, and it's one of those internet things where people like to complain. Plus, my video, I'm a newbie cement person. Like, I can mess with it, but I'm not a pro. And when you start doing projects that there is a trade for this, I think you have some people who are very specific about how you're doing it wrong. And I admit that right in the video. I said I am not a person to work with cement. So anyway, some people like to. I made some people angry, I guess. They didn't like how I was doing it, but it's a neat machine. I do like it a lot. And Chris was asking that because he saw, if you see, actually, if you go on Facebook and you look up the mud mixer, um, once you do that once, it's going to be in your feed because that's how advertising works. Just warning you. But you'll see my face in there. I did a little commercial for Mud Mixer uh, for them. Nothing to do with my channel. I mean, I had my shirt on for my channel, but it's not a video for the channel. It was specifically made for Mud Mixer. They're having a Black Friday sale. So if you do want to pick one of these up, you want to do it with this Black Friday sale because you're going to get the free chute extension, the free hopper extension, a cover, free shipping. It's a good deal. So if you're thinking about the mud mixer, and I don't get any commission on these mud mixers either, but if you're thinking about a mud mixer, do go to the website or go to Facebook and look up mud mixer. You'll see my face on there talking about the mud mixer. And you know, if you're wanting one, this would be a good time to get it because they're giving some good stuff away with it. If you go to my mud mixer video, you can find it on the channel. I don't know which one it is. Chris will probably find it for us. But uh, if you go to my mud mixer video, within the description and maybe within the first comment, there is a link to mud mixer specific to the channel. So it ties that click to the channel. And again, I get nothing for it other than mud mixer knows that I sent you through my channel. And that makes them happy to know that they have an effective partner in me with that. So go to my website or go to my video and then click on that mud mixer link and go to the website that way, and they'll see that they're getting response. So Steve mixes concrete in the bucket of your tractor. Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Just use that area, use a hoe or whatever to mix it up. Um, that's a great thing. Phil did a video with the mud mixer. I saw that, Phil, and you rented the mud mixer, $60 a day. Not bad, and that makes a lot of sense if you're just doing a few projects. Um, Ken has a question about the MP348 brush mulcher from Baumolite. Does it have the chains on it? Yes, it does. I understand that some of the early models did not. And the way this thing works is it spins in a reverse rotation direction. So it's when you're backing into the brush. That's how it works. You're not driving over it. You actually have to back into it. And the back of the machine cuts off the brush and it sucks it into the machine and it mulches it up in the machine, and the debris just kind of either lays there or shoots out the front. Now, if you hit a tree or something, which I've had happen, it'll lay down that tree and then it grabs that tree and it shoots it like a torpedo under the front of the tractor, which may have been how I bent my fender and ultimately ruptured my hydraulic line. But it does shoot it forward under the tractor. And my understanding is some of the older or maybe first version of the brush mulchers did not have those chains. So the chains help slow down that debris from moving forward. Doesn't stop it, obviously, but right. I did not. I did not feed Chris that question, and I did not mean to turn that into a mud mixer commercial. But again, if it's a good deal and you're looking for one, go for it. But I am not. I am not. Uh, you know, that was not a plant. Chris is just very intuitive. That's all. Um, yeah, Linda, it would be good to rent. In fact, I was going to go to the local. We have a hardware store that rents equipment, and that reminds me, I was going to go to them and let them know about it, that they should have one in their arsenal of tool rentals. So let me make a note of that. Mud mixer rental. I'll look at that tomorrow and say, what was that about? Anyway, good idea. I think, and like Phil said, he was able to do it. There's Chris with the link. Thank you, Chris. You guys can watch that video afterward. Chris would be an amazing social media manager. Ross, I forgot to tell you. Now, Ross is one of the moderators here on the channel, as well as Chris. But Ross, you've not been here on Monday. So last week I gave Chris a promotion. Chris is now a producer for the show. So just wanted to let you know that, Ross. You don't have to report to Chris or anything. You still have your moderator abilities and duties, but Chris has been promoted to producer, and his salary also doubled. So no hard feelings, Ross. But you weren't here, man. What can I say? Fun times. I did. Let's get back to. Wait. Question. Question from Robert Hamilton. I have started an orchard. The area has been cleared and relatively smooth, but still very bumpy and weedy to mow. Still a lot of tree sprouts from the roots. Continuing on. Can I level the even out of the rows with a box blade, or how do you all begin to turn cleared land into something more pasture-like? That's a great question, Robert, because I would think that a box blade is not going to do a good job because you're going to be hitting those small trees that are the sprouts, and I think the box blade is just going to dig in and maybe just get stuck. I don't think it's going to rip those out by the roots. Maybe it would. I think tilling it would be a problem. If you don't have access to something like a a brush mulcher, I would think you may just have to keep mowing it, um, and it'll just those will kind of break down as you do it. But I don't know. Phil says get a dozer in there. Yeah, you could doze it up. I don't know. That's a great question. Chisel Plow says Kent. Hmm. Well, thank you for answering Robert's questions because I don't know the answer to that, which is why I like this live chat because I can defer to you, the experienced viewer. But anyway, I thought let's do the sticker giveaway here in just a moment. Um, that's what I was thinking, Jeffrey. Continue a flail mowing. It's sort of like when I attacked my overgrowth of bamboo at the other property. I planted a bamboo because I thought it was going to be cool. I didn't plant it in the right place, and it started to really overtake the area. I got nervous because at the time that was before I had cement, concrete in the lean-to, so the bamboo was just outside the lean-to. It had the rhizome root structure. It was growing under the lean-to, the dirt floor in the lean-to, coming up. I had bamboo growing up through the lawn tractor that was parked in there, through the equipment, and I thought, oh my gosh, I can't have this. And I just envisioned it taking over the whole property. So I started at least a 3-year journey of killing the bamboo, which I succeeded. I got it, uh, but it was not easy. And the trick was constant, not only mowing but pulling out of the weeds and cutting. I cut it all the way to the ground. So I started by mowing it, cutting it. You would see new growth come up. And I learned this on the internet. New growth would come up and you'd have to immediately cut it. So I got it to the point where it was almost like stringy pieces coming up. I would take my hand cutters, cut it right at the base. And I went out there, every couple days through the season. Anytime I saw new growth, I would cut. And some of that growth would be real thin and wispy, but it would be like 3 feet tall. Like, how did that happen? And cut it off. Uh, so that's what I did. Just kept cutting. And what you do is you choke out the root system because it needs the growth to feed the roots. Just like the growth needs the roots to grow, but the roots need the growth. So you just keep cutting it and cutting it and cutting it until finally it dies. And it took a good 3 summers to do that, maybe 4. And yeah, Kent, 4 feet in 24 hours. I've seen it. It's amazing. And it's fun, but you got to make sure you put it in the right place. So, anyway, back to Veterans Day before we do the sticker giveaway. And Kent, I like this idea of doing a giveaway just for vets. What do you think about that? Just for veterans, the sticker giveaway. That'd be fun. I like that. Let's do it. Let's do it. All right. Anyway, back to Veterans Day. I did want to read some information. I meant to do this earlier, but now is just as good of a time to do it toward the end here because I thought this was a great way to honor our veterans too, is to um, talk about their needs and the history, of course, of Veterans Day that some might not realize, but it dates back to World War One, known as the Great War. I'm reading this from the U.S. Department of Veterans Affairs. World War One, known at the time as the Great War, officially ended when the Treaty of Versailles was signed June 28th, 1919. Now, stay with me on that. June 28th, 1919. And you're saying, wait, that's not November 11th. Treaty was signed June 28th, 1919, in the Palace of Versailles, outside the town of Versailles, France. However, fighting ceased 7 months earlier when an armistice or temporary cessation of hostilities between the Allied nations and Germany went into effect on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month. For that reason, November 11th, 1918 is generally regarded as the end of the war to end all wars. So the fighting stopped November 11th at 11 a.m. And our service in our local community is at 11 a.m. on the 11th month. 11 at 11 a.m. So that is Veterans Day. In 2023, this is just random internet stuff now. In 2023, there were approximately 16.2 million veterans in the United States, which is 6.1% of the civilian population over the age of 18. So 6% of our population, adult population, are veterans, which 6% doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 16 million people. The age of our veterans, 75 or older, almost 28% of our veterans are 75 or older, while 8.3% are under 35%. 72% of our veterans are white, 12.6% are Black or African American, 8.6% are Hispanic or Latino, 2% are Asian American, 0.8% are American Indian or Alaskan Native, and then you have 0.2% are Native Hawaii or other Pacific Islander. And then you have another 2.8 that are some other race. So 3/4 white and then 20 some percent other. Interesting, right? 30% of veterans have disabilities related to their service, and 13 to 20% have post-traumatic stress disorder. Or other common mental health issues include depression and anxiety. So we've got basically a third of our veterans have disabilities related to their service. 1/3, that's a lot. And then of that, well, I don't know if it's 13 to 20% of that or 13 to 20% overall have PTSD, which is I'm glad that we recognize that now, because I think years ago you just had to man up and get over it, and now we recognize that it's a serious illness. That mental illnesses are very much as serious as physical illnesses. Over 48,000 veterans are homeless or at risk of homelessness, and I'm a board member now on Habitat for Humanity with Habitat for Humanity, and we are. We started a veterans outreach program, hired a veterans outreach coordinator. He spoke at the veterans event today. So our Habitat for Humanity is now really seeking out to help veterans who are very much an underserved community. And this is kind of a sad statistics here, that 84% of veterans say that the American public is unaware of the challenges that they face. Veterans are at 72% higher risk of suicide than those who have not served. So we need to listen better, I guess, if nearly 85%, if they feel that 85% of them feel that they're basically not being heard. Suicide is the second leading cause of death for post 9/11 veterans. I think first is heart attack and cancer. Second leading cause. And 131,000 veterans have died by suicide since 2001. Currently, 22 veterans, this is in America only, not around the world, 22 veterans a day are lost to suicide. 22 every day. Think about that. Every day, 7 days a week, around the clock. And that number has come down. Recently, I think it was up to 30, down to 22. But how sad is that to have 22 people a day, veterans a day, taking their own lives? So I do want to say, if you're a veteran, know that you're appreciated and know that there is help out there that you can seek. There are people who want to work with you and help you. So I know that it's on you to reach out, and that can be difficult, but don't be ashamed to reach out. That's with anybody who has mental health issues. Reach out, and you'll be so happy to find that people want to help you. Don't be embarrassed. Don't think it makes you less of a person. Reach out for that help. Please do. So there's my PSA for tonight. So let's do the sticker giveaway. The giveaway sticker and probably a pen. The way this works is you're going to type a word or a phrase in the live chat exactly the way that I share it with you momentarily. If you're a new viewer, that's how we do it. Facebook and YouTube only, and only during the live chat, only during the live stream. So I'm going to share this. Let's do veterans only, honor system. Veterans only. I like that. So here's what you do, veterans. And if you won before, I don't care. Just enter again. If you're a veteran and you won before, do it. So enter in the live chat the word #honor. It can be all uppercase. It can be all lowercase. It can be a combination of upper and lowercase. Just no spaces, and make sure you use the hashtag. All right. See how Margaret did it? #honor. The Tin Barn, #honor. Brutal Bob, #honor. Thank you. Look at all these. That's great. There's uppercase and lowercase. That's good. This is a great way for you, the viewer, to see in the live chat. You can see who our veterans are, those who are comfortable speaking up and participating. What a great way for you to recognize who our veterans are. Thank you, Kent, for that suggestion. I do appreciate that. Scott, thank you. #honor. Okay. Ross, being a funny guy who's not military and spells it wrong because he's up in that land of Canada where they spell neighbor and things with a U. Apologies if that music was loud. Anyway, we're going to draw this in a moment. We only have 9 veterans who participated out of 43 people watching, 50 people watching. Not too many veterans, huh? Or at least not too many who participated. So somebody has a good shot of winning here tonight. Thank you for those who are not veterans. We're refraining. Let's do it. Oh. Brutal Bob, buddy, congratulations. Brutal Bob has been a friend of the channel, long-time viewer. And Brutal Bob, you'll be getting one of these fancy new caution stickers, and I'll send you whatever else I can find here. Anyway, Bob, I think I have your address from the past because I think you won in the past, but I'm going to ask you to shoot me an email just as a reminder at contactmcgtv@gmail.com, and I'll take care of this for you. Thanks, my friend. contactmcgtv@gmail.com. That's the email address. That's what we use. That's how it works. Right. All right. Cool. That was fun. All right. So I do hope that you have been able to honor some veterans today, attended some services, some programs. If not, think about it next year, next time. I thank you, our veterans, very much for serving. It is appreciated beyond words. And again, let's use the example of Veterans Day to recognize our neighbors, and we all need to work on getting along. And the best way to do that might be to, well, obviously, don't talk about politics. The best advice I heard, and this goes back years, this isn't even about anything recently. Best advice I heard, I was at a group, and I was at a kind of a formal meeting. I guess it was a work meeting. And the person leading the meeting said, realize that the person sitting next to you may not have voted the way you voted, but they were here for a common cause. But realize that wherever you go, the person sitting next to you, even if it's a fun event, whatever, they may not have voted the way you did. forget about that. Focus on why you're there and what you're doing together. So there's my I did a PSA. That's my motivational message for this evening. Congratulations, Brutal Bob. Thank you all for being here. Uh, again, probably not going to make it next week. I mean, I'll leave it open if there's a chance, but I'm thinking probably not going to happen. So be aware that next week there probably won't be a live stream. So enjoy the rest of your week this week. I hope that the weather's treating you well and that life is good. And as always, I look forward to seeing you next time.